So let's talk about the discriminant. The discriminant. So we get the discriminant from the quadratic formula. So you'll remember the quadratic formula is what we use to find those x-intercepts or to solve for x. Okay, so the discriminant, we use that symbol, delta, but we just call it the discriminant. We use that symbol. You notice it looks like a little triangle, but, a little bit thicker. So the discriminant is equal to b squared minus 4ac. So that is from the part of the quadratic formula that is under the square root. Okay, so we know that if that part is negative, well, we can't find the square root of a negative number without going into complex numbers. So we know then that there's no solutions. So that this discriminant tells us how many solutions there are, well, and even if there are solutions, and if we can find a solution, if the solutions are rational or irrational. Okay, so I've taken this little bit from your book. Let's talk about this. So if our discriminant is negative, so discriminant is less than 0, this means there's no real solutions. So this means there's no intercepts, there's no solutions. Graph does not cross or touch the x-axis. If our discriminant is equal to 0, so you can imagine, okay, that part under the square root sign is 0. So all of a sudden our x is just then equal to negative b over 2a. If that part is equal to 0, that's why if our discriminant is equal to 0, we only have one solution, and it's rational because it's this nice fraction. Okay, so that means the graph touches the x-axis. There's one intercept, and we say that touches. So there's a little bit of language that you need to sort of understand. When we say intersect, that means crosses it. And touch, it just means touches it, but doesn't cross over. Okay. All right. So now let's talk about the situation where our discriminant is positive or greater than 0. So when we have something underneath that square root sign that we can find. Okay, so if that discriminant is a perfect square, that means we have two solutions and both of those solutions are rational. Okay, so we'll have crossing the x-axis twice. But if that discriminant is not a perfect square, still greater than 0 but not a perfect square, that means you'll have two irrational solutions. Now it's worth noting here that this discriminant does not tell you the solution, only how many solutions there are. Okay, so that a lot of students can get confused. They find the discriminant, then tell me that is the intercepts. It's not. It's just telling you how many solutions there are. So let's do a few examples. So how many solutions do these have? So I've got x squared plus 3x minus 4 equals to 0. So discriminant is equal to 3 squared minus 4 times a, which is 1, times by c, which is negative 4. So discriminant is equal to 9. Take away, well, it's plus, isn't it? Because negative 4 times by 1 times by negative 4 plus 16. So discriminant is equal to 25. So that's a perfect square. X greater than 0. So discriminant is greater than 0. Okay, so that tells us, therefore, that there's two solutions and that there's two rational solutions. Okay? All right, so let's look at this second example. I've got negative x squared minus 5x minus 6 equal to 0. So my discriminant is equal to negative 5 squared minus 4 times by negative 1, which is a, times by negative 6. So discriminant equal to, okay, so 25. Got negative 4 times by negative 1, so positive 4 times by negative 6, so that's negative 24. So my discriminant is equal to 1. So the discriminant is greater than 0, so it's positive. Therefore, we've got two solutions. Oops. And with 1, is that a perfect square? Yes, it is. It's a perfect square, so we've got two rational solutions. Okay. So I've got a few more here. 3x squared plus 8x plus 7 equal to 0. So discriminant is equal to 8 squared minus 4 times 3 times 7. So discriminant is equal to 64. So 4 times 3 is 12, times by 7 is 84, and that's negative 84. So that means our discriminant is less than 0. It'll be negative. Therefore, no solutions. Okay, so 2x squared minus 5x minus 9 equals to 0. So our discriminant is equal to negative 5 squared minus 4 times 2 times negative 9. So discriminant is equal to 25. So negative 4 times by 8 is, negative 4 times by 2 is negative 8. Negative 8 times by 9 is positive 72. So that discriminant is 97. So the discriminant is greater than 0. So therefore two solutions. But as 97 is not a perfect square, the solutions are irrational. Okay, so let's look at this last one. 9x squared minus 24x plus 16 equals to 0. So discriminant equals to, negative 24 squared minus 4 times by 9 times by 16. Okay, so I might get my calculator to help me with 24 squared. Okay, 576. 576. Take away, and that will be a negative, so take away 4 times 9 times 16. 576. 576. The discriminant is equal to 0. Therefore, one solution. The graph will touch the x-axis once. Okay, we can also use the discriminant to see if graphs intersect and how many points of intersection they have. Okay, so let's look at these examples. So I've got these two graphs, y equals x squared plus 8x plus 12, and y equals negative 2x plus 4. Okay, so we're wanting to see where they intersect. In other words, where they're equal to each other, where their y's are equal to each other. So I can set them up equal to each other. So x squared minus 8x plus 12 equals negative 2x plus 4. Okay, so x squared, I'm going to add 2x to both sides. That makes negative 6x. I'll take 4 from both sides. So that's plus 8 equals to 0. Okay, so that discriminant is equal to negative 6 squared, take 4 times by 1 times by 8 equals to 36. Take away 32. So that discriminant is equal to 4. So two solutions, therefore 2 points of intersection. It'll cross, these two graphs will cross each other twice. I don't know how they look, but something like that. Okay, so here I've got y equals x squared minus 6x plus 8 and y equals negative 2x plus 4. Okay, oops. So x squared minus 6x plus 8 equal to negative 2x plus 4. So I'll add 2x to both sides, so negative 4x. And then I'll take 4 from both sides, so plus 2. Oh, not plus 2, what am I saying? Plus 4. So discriminant is equal to negative 4 squared plus 4 times by 1 times by 4, so 16. That's meant to be negative, isn't it? 16, take 16, discriminant equals to 0, therefore one solution, so 1 point of intersection. Okay, now I might graph these so you can see them. So just on my CAS calculator, control insert, add graphs. So I'll put in that first one, so x squared minus 8x plus 12. Okay, and then our other one was negative 2x plus 4. You can see those 2 points of intersection. All right, and now for our second one, so it was x squared minus 6x plus 8. Okay, and then handily we're using the same graph, and you can see here, I'll zoom up on it a bit, zoom in, that it just centers it, it just touches it. That's that one point of intersection. All right, one point of intersection. You'll learn a bit more about those types of intersections, probably methods. Okay, so that is the discriminant.